Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Jana's Joyful Journey, as I like to call it. But today is going to be more of a serious topic video and something that has just been pressing on my heart that I need to share. And it's not like the regular content I put on this channel, so sorry if this is boring to some of you, but to those of you who are parents or are going to be parents in the future or want to have children or nieces and nephews or grandchildren or whatever it is, any type of future babies that are going to be coming into the world, it's very important that you listen up. So here we go. A little over a year ago, October last year, we went to find out the sex of our baby when I was 5 months pregnant. And we did the gender reveal. My husband took a golf club and hit a golf ball and blue powder went everywhere, and we jumped up in the air, screamed with excitement and hugged each other, and it was just, we were so excited. We really wanted a boy. And I remember I went home that night and I'm sitting there and I'm just thinking to myself, like, I don't want to circumcise him. Like, I didn't feel right about it. I felt like something inside of me was like, don't do that. I don't know if it was God or my future motherly instincts kicking in or what. And I remember I texted my sister and I was like, I don't want to circumcise him. And she goes, then don't. And I'm like, oh, yeah, then I won't. Like, it's that simple, right? Well, that's where it all started. So I told my husband, like, I don't feel right about this. Like, I don't want to do this. What if it hurts him? And he's like, well, no, like, we're gonna circumcise him. Like, I'm circumcised and it's cleaner and people will make fun of him if he's not. And I was just like, really though? Like, how do you know this? Is this just your own opinions? And I was like, all right, whatever. I'm just gonna let him think that for now and I'm gonna do my own research. So I started researching online, like just Google and YouTube and Facebook groups and just articles and articles and articles. And I spent hours researching. And that movie on Netflix, American Circumcision, had come out, and it's still on Netflix, so please, please, please go watch it. If you don't get anything from this video, just go watch that movie. It's hour and a half or whatever long, and it touches on most points that need to be talked about. I'm just going to talk about a few today, the ones that stand out to me. Me and my husband, we were fighting about it. It was like causing a lot of contention and arguments in our marriage for like a few weeks, until finally I was like, you know what, let's just sit down, watch this film, because I hadn't seen it yet. I wanted to watch it with him. It's like, let's watch this film, not say a single word, and then we can talk more about it afterwards. He's like, okay. So we sit down, we watch the whole movie, we don't say anything. Like, there was some times I wanted to look at him and be like, told you, but like, we didn't say anything. And then afterwards he looked at me and he just had like the most somber look on his face, and he's like, we are not circumcising our son. And I just started crying. I was like, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I just hugged him and sobbing. And so from that point on, like, that stress was taken away, because me and my husband, we had an agreement. We knew we weren't going to do it for many reasons. So I want to talk about like the way that the world sees it. So a lot of this stuff I'm going to be reading, I have notes on my other phone. A lot of it is taken from yourwholebaby.org, which I also encourage you guys to go there, and they literally, like, any topic, almost anything, like, is on there. It's the best website. I love yourwholebaby.org. I actually am a volunteer for them. I'm a state director for Utah and Nevada. I run the Facebook page, and I still need to work on planning some events for us to actually meet up in person and educate people, hand out flyers, stuff like that. So yeah, it's such a blessing to be able to work with them. They are one of the largest nonprofit organizations in the world, not just the country, but it's worldwide, organizations that reach out and educate people about circumcision and the risks and harms and the benefits of not doing it. So this part is taken from their website. It says the foreskin is meant to cover the glands or the head of the penis to help keep it sensitive to touch, just as the clitoral hood is meant to cover the clitoris to keep it sensitive to touch. When exposed, the glands become keratinized. I almost butchered that word. Keratinized, butchered, no pun intended, or callous, and loses sensitivity. So first and foremost, before I continue, I want to ask you guys, if you had a daughter, would you get her circumcised? Would you let a doctor slice off her clitoral hood or her labia for cosmetic reasons, because it's cleaner, because it can prevent infection, which, by the way, and I will talk about this later, is not true for men, even though people think that it is. In the United States of America, it is illegal to perform circumcisions on girls. You're probably thinking, okay, well, no crap, that's messed up. However, it is the same thing to do it to a boy. It hurts just as much. It's just as much unnecessary and unethical. And I want to talk about why and why it's such a big deal. You're like, who cares? Why do you care so much? Why, Jana? Why do you always post on Instagram and Facebook? Why are you constantly talking about this? Like, why do you care? I care because these are newborn baby boys who might want to keep their foreskin because it brings more pleasure. There's 16 different functions that it has. There's 20,000 nerve endings. For reason. God gave them that skin for a reason. But then dozens and dozens of years ago, there was all these studies that came out about how it can prevent penile cancer and it can lower the rate of infection if you cut the foreskin off, and STDs and stuff like that. That's not true. A condom works just as good, if not, well, definitely better. A condom works better than circumcision to reduce all those things: STDs, infections, yeast infections, bacterial infections, UTIs. Has nothing to do with if there's foreskin there or not. Something else that I liked that someone said was, the foreskin is a taboo, censored body part for many Americans. Most American men have never experienced life with a foreskin, so they don't know what they're missing. And most American women do not have a partner that has one. So again, women are just used to being with men that are circumcised. Men are used to being circumcised. Because of this, information you're about to read is not common knowledge. Please take it with an open mind. And I would like to invite you guys to do the same thing. This video is already really long, so I'm going to try to talk and get as much stuff in as I can. People in the community that I'm in, we call ourselves intactivists, which is kind of punny, but also very true. So being intact, meaning you keep the foreskin you're born with. It's part of you forever. And so we're trying to help other babies stay intact when they're born by educating these future parents and mothers. So us intactivists, we talk a lot about body autonomy, meaning it is your body. God gave you that body. So anything that happens to it for cosmetic purposes should be your choice. If it's their body, it should be their choice if they're going to be losing a very important part of it. So I just want to make it clear, I am not against circumcision. I'm not. I am against routine infant circumcision. And I'm against it happening to people against their will, people that do not give consent, because it is traumatic. People might say, oh, they don't feel pain. They don't remember it. Babies are way more likely to feel pain because the anesthetic either isn't used or doesn't work all the way. And just even the needle alone, even the fact that you have to poke them with a needle to inject numbing into them, that alone is extremely painful and traumatic for them. No medical organization in the world, not even in America, recommends routine infant circumcision. It's inherently harmful and unethical because consent cannot be given. If someone would have cut off my clitoral hood when I was a baby, I would have been pissed today. I would have been like, no, I want that. I want all the skin that God gave me. I want to feel all the sexual pleasures. I want to have my whole body. I don't want scars down on my private parts. It's just, it's not okay. Foreskin has function, pleasure, lubrication, sensitivity, and it's self-cleaning just like a vagina. So here's a huge point that I want to hit. The reason why a lot of uncircumcised baby boys and young boys have problems, you might hear about them getting UTIs and yeast infections, which by the way is just as common in girls. However, the majority of those boys that have infections that are not circumcised, it's because they were forcefully retracted, which is the skin was peeled back to be cleaned. However, this should never, and I cannot put a big enough emphasis on this, never ever be done by anyone except the owner, the boy whose penis it is. And it's usually not possible for him to even retract it until he hits puberty, or right around then, between ages 10 to 13. Sometimes it happens earlier. However, it should never be an adult, parent, guardian, anybody should be pushing that skin back. That's why they get infections, because it's literally tearing the skin from the glands. It's like ripping a fingernail off. That's what they compare it to. So it's an open wound, which is likely to get an infection, and that's how you get those yeast infections, those UTIs, those needing to get circumcised. Like, the doctors will recommend, oh, they need to get circumcised because their foreskin's messed up. Yeah, because somebody peeled it back that should not have. And so that is one of the biggest points as well. And it's so easy. All you have to do is wipe from base to tip, bottom to top. That's it. Like, if there's poop on it, like when my son pees, I don't wipe it. And if there's poop on it, I wipe around it. I don't peel the skin back. And so once it is retractable, once that happens, like I said, usually around puberty, you just peel it back a little bit and you wash it like you would wash your armpit or your feet. You know, this also says that forced retraction is painful and can cause bleeding, infections, scarring, and other complications, such as needing a circumcision, or not really needing one, but the doctors will tell you that you do. There's also like a really dark side of circumcision, like a black market that I've learned about, where they sell the foreskin. So that little piece of skin that's taken off your child's penis is not just thrown in the trash. It is harvested and sent. The hospital will sell it to beauty companies. Like, it is like in high demand for like beauty companies, cosmetic reasons, and also like skin grafting and medical testing. And so yeah. And do the parents get any of that money? People will pay up to 40 grand for a little chunk of foreskin. I didn't see any of that money given to my sister when her kids were circumcised. In fact, you have to pay usually around $500 to get a circumcision. It is never covered by insurance, at least not in the United States or Canada. It's not covered by insurance, and it's expensive. So you're literally paying to put your child in pain. I didn't even talk much about the pain that they go through, but they do remember it, they do feel it, and it does affect them no matter what people say. My baby slept through it, you're perfectly fine. A lot of the times they go into shock. Close to 200 babies die a year in the United States from their lungs rupturing from crying so hard, bleeding out and hemorrhaging. Way too much blood is lost and they can't give it back to the baby. What's gone is gone. Botched circumcisions. There was a circumcision in South America where the doctor accidentally cut the entire penis off. A lot of botched things like that happen in the United States to people close to me. My nephew, a few of my family members' kids, literally their children have had to get several, 2, if not more than 2 circumcisions because the doctor didn't do it right the first time. So yeah, maybe they didn't remember the first time, which they do, but maybe they didn't, right? Okay, when they're 2 years old and they're being put under full-on anesthesia, they're gonna remember that. I remember the first time I was put under. It was a scary experience, and it's weird, and it's not fun, and the pain that they're going through from when they're recovering as a little kid, it sucks. Which is another reason why, if you want a circumcision that bad, be a consenting adult, be able to have proper pain management and anesthesia and pain medication, and know what you're getting yourself into. Educate yourself on what you're losing. And if that's what you want, great, fine. I don't care. At least you are giving your consent. And I know I'm getting a little heated, but I am so passionate about this because I am trying to help save future babies and protect the future generation that is to come. Literally, this is such an unnecessary thing, and doctors are making thousands and thousands of dollars off of it, and medical companies and pharmaceutical companies, and we are putting our money down the drain. We're giving them money to do this, and all we get from it is a kid who might grow up and resent us and be pissed that they don't have their foreskin. There are a lot of grown men who resent their parents for making that decision for them, you know? There's a group called Bloodstained Men and Their Friends. I highly encourage you to check it out. They have a website. They're on Facebook. That's Bloodstained Men and Their Friends. The founder is Brother K. Brother K is their founder. He actually did an interview a couple months ago on Tosh.0, and you can watch that. And he's a great guy. And his message is, man, like, I was circumcised and I didn't want to be. And he has thousands of other people, men and women, who stand behind him and say, same with me. My parents did this. I didn't want this. I wish I had my foreskin. I wish I knew what sex should have felt like for me. I wish that I didn't have a botched circumcision. I wish I didn't have scars all over my penis. There's a lot of men like that, you know. My husband has even said, I mean, he's not mad at his parents, but my husband has said to me, like, I wish that my parents wouldn't have done that. Like, and I'm like, I know, me too. I'm sorry that that happened to you. Like, there's nothing we can do about it now. However, there's a lot that we can do to educate future parents, pregnant women, just, you know, the generation that's to come. Okay, so the United States is one of the only countries that still circumcise. Africa and the Middle East are the only other countries that still do it, and they do it for religious purposes, and they don't even use numbing like we do here. And so I wish that they would stop too, because for them, they're going by the Old Testament, which was the law of Moses, which God did say to get circumcised to show a covenant between you and him. However, the way that they did it in the Old Testament days was such a teeny snip of foreskin, and now it's the entire foreskin plus the frenulum, which is one of the most pleasurable parts of the penis. Pleasurable parts of the penis. I cannot talk. Okay, so anyways, it has healthy tissue that plays an important role in sexuality. It has circumcision has no justifiable benefits and is in fact harmful, from pain and suffering to surgical botches to reduce maternal-child bonding. Yeah, so that's something else that I've heard, and I've even heard it like on breastfeeding pages. Women are like, my son, he won't latch, he doesn't want to eat, he just like won't even wake up, like he's just sleeping all day. Which they do sleep a lot in the beginning, and breastfeeding is hard in the beginning, but I've seen a higher percentage of people that struggle with breastfeeding. It's because it was right after their son got circumcised, and he screamed his head off, and their bodies go into shock. A lot of the times they stop breathing, and they don't tell you this, but so many babies have to be resuscitated. During the procedure, they stop breathing. They always have to have a, what do you call that? Machine to bring them back to life. What the heck is that called? Why can't I think? Anyways, there's always equipment and machinery in the procedure room to help their heart beat again. They have ice to help bring them out of shock. They have a lot of things in there because they are prepared, and they know that their heart will probably stop. Your baby will probably die when he is circumcised, and then they hopefully will bring him back to life, and they won't tell you about that. Sometimes they do, but most of the time they don't. And close to 200 babies die a year in the United States from circumcision. Just the United States. That doesn't include all the babies in Africa, Middle East, and the rest of the world that might still be doing it, Canada, whatever. But a majority of the men in the world, especially like, you know, in Asia and Europe and South America, like, I don't know the percent. A majority of the men in other countries around the world are not. And when they hear about the fact that we're still doing it, they're just like, what the heck, really? And there's a lot of things that I still want to talk about that I didn't talk about yet, but hopefully what I've said so far has opened your eyes. Please, please, please go to yourwholebaby.org, watch American Circumcision on Netflix. There's also a website called Doctors Opposing Circumcision. Yes, doctorsopposingcircumcision.org. I'm going to put all of these links down below. Please click on them, visit them, and just educate yourself, because this is a big deal. It's not just a little snip. And they do feel it, and it's damaging, especially when a boy grows up and wishes he still had his whole penis. So, and this video is really long, and I'm sorry, but I really hope that this answered any questions you might have. Please feel free to message me. Be nice in the comments. Please be nice. I don't want any fighting or debating, just civil conversations. It's okay if you don't agree with me. It's okay if you have opposing views, but also just do your research first, and then we can talk. Something else that I thought was crazy was this statement used to be in the AA, so the American Academy of Pediatrics, in the AAP's pamphlet. This used to be in one of their pamphlets for intact care. In 1984, it said the function of the foreskin and the glands at birth is delicate and easily irritated by urine and feces. The foreskin shields the glands. With circumcision, this protection is lost. In such cases, the glands, and especially the urinary opening or the meatus, may become irritated and infected, causing ulcers, metitis, inflammation of the meatus, and medial stenosis, a narrowing of the urinary opening. Such problems virtually never occur in uncircumcised penises. So the inflammation, the infections, they virtually never occur. The foreskin protects the glands throughout life. Let me say that again. The foreskin protects the glands throughout life. And then in 1990, the AAP removed that. It was no longer accessible. They were no longer educating parents the benefits of keeping them whole. And in fact, a lot of doctors recommend and encourage parents to circumcise because it's cleaner, which is not true. Okay, I think I'm done. I'm sorry. I know this has gone on forever. There's also other websites. I'm going to put a ton of links down below, like so many links. And I hope that it's helpful to you, and I hope that we can save the future generations. And I just care about babies, and I love them, and I love my baby, and I can never imagine putting him through that, and I would never want him to resent me for making that choice for him. And just let's change the world. Let's make it a better place. Let's save these little boys that are going to be coming into it. And if you're a regret parent, like my mom and my sister and a lot of people close to me are, that's okay. You did the best that you could with what you knew, and the advice you were given, mostly from doctors, that was something you should have done. And I know your children will forgive you, and let's just move on, and let's just help future babies, and let's educate ourselves and spread this wonderful message of keeping them whole. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate the support, and I'll talk to you guys later. Okay, bye.